Yeah. Quinn on the mic, I'ma lace it with truth. Phillip in the back, calling plays from the booth. Podcast vibes, broadcasting the word. Sharper than the two-edged sword. Every verse heard on my arm strap. Shield tight like a glove. Faith in my veins, powered by God's love. Ephesians 6:11, yeah, it's the drill. Put on the full armor, stand firm in his will. Armor up, we don't back down. Shield of faith when the world comes around. Sword in my hand, I'm ready to fight. Jesus is the captain leading through the night. Yeah, sports in the spirit, it's a game of endurance. Training in faith, no room for deterrence. Quinn and Phillip, tag team for the kingdom. Breaking down walls till the world can see them. Helmet of salvation, blocking the lies. Belt of truth, yeah, I'm suited to rise. Yeah, shoes fitted tight, spreading peace while I step. I run this race with Jesus, no regret. You feel the heat, that's the fire of the spirit. Voices in the dark, but I don't even hear it. Face my defense, prayer's my offense. Victory in Jesus, yeah, it's immense.
Welcome back to Armor Up Athletics, episode 33. Starting the show off a little different tonight. I got a special guest here in the office with me, new assistant offensive line coach, tight ends coach here at Averett University, Zach Carabo from, where's he from, Phillip?
Brave country, baby. Let's go.
Well, I'm gonna get out the way for a minute. This is episode 33. We're going to throw jersey numbers out there real quick for 33, and then I'll let Phillip take over and kind of interview Coach Carabo here for a few minutes, and then we'll jump into the show. But episode 33, Phillip, the first jersey number that you were going with football guys, and I didn't even think of this football guy when we started talking. I had Larry Bird, which was obviously a great 33. So you go ahead and drop yours as well.
Well, it throwed me off that you didn't have the football guy. You're a football guy. You know, every week you bring on the football guys, and you missed Tony Dorsett.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad. Do you have a 33?
Yeah, I had a 33. People know me, know I'm a huge Duke fan, and Grant Hill was the first one I popped on.
Grant Hill.
Okay. Yeah. I forgot about Grant.
Yeah.
Grant
nice
Hill.
pick.
Yeah, we got to get him trained up on his social media. Everything on social media is Duke. We got to split that to blue and gold. Get some Cougar stuff on there.
Yeah. You got to branch out, Zach.
Get there.
But again, tight ends coach, assistant offensive line coach, Coach Carabo. I'm going to turn it over to Phillip and let him get some questions out, and then we'll jump into the show.
Sweet. What's going on, Zach?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm down here in Florida working this week, jumping on the podcast and saw the news. First of all, big congratulations, man. I know how hard you've worked. I saw the grind that you've put in. Nothing that you've done has come easy, and that's a commended attribute to your work ethic, your personality, and who you are. First of all, tell us about what's going on right now in your life and how what led you to this position here at Averett.
So after I got done with football, I played at Newberry, and I got done. I started thinking, I was like, man, I can't give this up. This has been my life for 14 years now, and I just didn't feel like I can give it up. And I had a job up in Raleigh. I didn't think the office thing was going to be for me for now. And me and Matt, we have a connection. Bill Gray is our connection, and I texted Bill and I was like, does Matt need a GA? And he said, let me ask him, and this, that, and the other. And he gave me Matt's number. I texted him, and we started texting back and forth. He gave me a phone call, gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. And so I'm up here now, and I'm loving it so far. I'm loving every second of it. So
look, man, there's a lot of people, back in the small town of Sherrall that has rooted for you, has been proud of you. You become kind of a figurehead there for work. And what would you tell kids coming up right now about work ethic and what it means to get to the next level about that work ethic?
Well, nothing's easy. Nothing will ever be handed to you at the next level. You have to work for every little thing you have. It's a grind. It really is. do you want to wake up at 6 a.m. and work out or run, even earlier, 5 a.m. sometimes? I mean, we practice at 6 a.m., we lifted at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Do you want to wake up? And then you have to go to class. And I mean, that's one part that got me to where I am is I had great grades. I mean, I was a good student, always had a high GPA, kept a high GPA in college. It's not easy. But if you really want this and you really want your sport to be your life, you have to put 110% into it, no matter what you do. And you know, kids just they need to get that work ethic. I don't know where they're going to get it. They just need to settle down and look in the mirror and just figure out, is this what I want to do? Am I going to work? Because nothing's handed to you ever. I've had conversations with kids already. I'm like, nothing's going to be handed to you, man. Um, you got to love every single second of the process. Like I said, if you don't love the process, it's no good. You're not going to make it. So
That's a great statement, man. And I try to instill that into my kids all the time. And it leads me to another question that I had. Being young and coming up, how can young men become stronger spiritually and professionally in a world full of distractions these days? We know the social medias and the video games and stuff like that. So, one, how did you do it, and how can they continue to become stronger and develop in those distractions?
well, with me, I would, something wrong would happen. A bad day, so, for example, bad day at practice. I'll look in the mirror, try to figure out what's wrong, but then I'll look to God. The Lord has blessed me with a lot, and if things are going wrong in your life and you don't feel like you have anything, the Lord's always going to be there. I mean, that's the number one thing. I mean, let me get my thoughts. I'm sorry. I'm just
You're
running.
good. That's what this show's all about.
I'm not an interview guy. I usually don't do these, but yeah. Um, you know, any problem in life, you look to the Lord, you pray about it, it will get solved. I've seen it firsthand. Um, Whenever my recruiting process was going on, I didn't know where I was going. I thought I would end up at PC, Presbyterian College, and didn't work out. And I was like, Lord, if I'm meant to play ball, put me where I'm supposed to be. A week later, Newberry came calling. Coach Stephen Flynn, he started calling and texting me and got me on visit. I commit next week. Best thing you can do is just, I mean, pray about it. Pray, pray, pray.
Well, the thing about your grind, man, is not only did you bust your tail, to get to the next level at Newberry. You eventually became a starter. I think you were a two-time champion there. Y'all won the
Yeah,
conference twice, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
So
yeah.
two-time champion there, and people, I don't think they really understand that kind of success you had with the work ethic that you put in. So again, I commend you 1,000%. I think you're a great young man. I think you got a bright future. One of the last questions I want to ask you is not a real hard one. If you want to leave us with one of your favorite verses or favorite scriptures or favorite what gets you through the day with motivation. I know when I wake up, I have one or two that I always try to read, and then I try to find something different in the Bible. But I have my go-to in the mornings that I have to get in my head to get me going. Um, so do you have something that you go to that you get your day started with?
Yeah, honestly, my favorite one, and I'm bad. I need to be better about it. I get the words mixed up sometimes, so I have it pulled up right here. It's 2 Timothy 4 through 7. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, and I've kept the faith. I mean, I'm
Man,
always,
that
always
one gives me chills, Zach. That's one of my favorite
that's
ones too.
that's
Now,
that's always been my go-to. I was always a fighter. No, I mean, you could put me on the ground, I'm gonna get back up, and I'm gonna do my best, to put you on the ground next play. This, putting in football terms. I ran the race. I mean, man, never a million years will I thought I'd play college football. I prayed about it. I hoped and hoped that I'd play college football, and luckily I did. So I ran that race. I made it all 4 years, and I finished the fight. I finished hard. I finished in a great way. Final Four team at Newberry, great people around me. I mean, I have lifelong friends now, and I'm a two-time champion now. I mean, it's great to hear, and this is what I expect at Averett. I'm expecting us to be great with a leader like Matt. I really do believe we can get there.
Well, you got a great mentor there in Coach Matt. Not just saying that because he's my co-host and my friend and my family, but the bar set high with him as well. He had a great high school career, a great college career, a great coaching career so far. Adding you to his staff can only elevate you guys there. I'm anxious. I'm excited. I'm coming up for the spring game, so going to be up there and get the Averett Cougar experience. But look, man, congratulations again. Sherrall is proud of you. I'm proud of you. Keep grinding, man. You are an inspiration to people you probably don't even know. My kids talk about you. Um, I use you a lot with your work ethic and the way you get after it. So keep that mentality, keep that grind, and I think you'll go a long ways in life. And I hope and pray there's some championships coming to Averett University as well with you guys.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man.
Hey, take it easy, man.
All right, good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, man.
I'm back.
There he is.
I was sitting off to the side, letting him do his thing, man. It really is awesome to have him on staff. Have somebody that a strong character, strong work ethic, all that good stuff. Adding that to the staff, adding some familiarity with the hometown, with the recruiting aspect of how we want to recruit the PD in that area is going to be awesome. And then obviously the football knowledge is great to have and add. A guy that played for a Final Four team and has won a couple championships has probably got something he can put back into our players as well. So I'm excited to have him here. Glad he could jump on for a few minutes. But we'll jump in to episode 33, Phillip.
Absolutely, man. And again, I can't be more proud of the kid. I think he's an added addition to your staff, but he's an added addition to that weight room and that locker room too, man. He's just a grinder. It's great to see that. So proud of him.
Yeah, he's always up at the gym up there in Sherrall working out and getting after it, and was actually doing some training of some guys that played here. Deshaun Drake is here from Sherrall. He's been with Deshaun at the gym. Tage Diggs from Chesterfield is here. He's been training with him back in the hometown. So it's cool to have that aspect of it. And he's so close in age, he can still relate to
Right.
them, but lead them as a coach's perspective. So that's cool.
Yep. Well, good deal, man. Super proud of that. I'm anxious to get up there. I told you I'm coming for the spring game, so
Let's
already
go.
worked it out. I'm going to be there.
Let's go. Let's go. April 18th, 1 o'clock.
All
AUA
right.
Live, going to be some sideline interviews.
Yep.
What do
I'm
you
bringing
thinking there,
Jagger
man?
with me.
I'm gonna be a little busy calling some plays, so you might have to,
Look,
have me
I'm
on
going
the
to just be
episode.
walking around. Just give me my full access badge so I don't get arrested for being in the wrong area. All right.
I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be all right. But no, this is episode 33. As we mentioned last week, we had this planned out. We had our notes ready for episode 32 to be titled "Be Coachable," but we got pushed back a little bit because the Lord led the show in a different way. Had Blake Elder come on. Powerful show, powerful words and a message from Blake Elder, former teammate of mine, now a pastor. Go back and watch it if you missed it. Take some time, go check it out. He drops some great knowledge, some great verses, some great gems. So we pushed the show back a little bit. We kept our notes and we kept it rolling, right? So this is episode 33, titled "Be Coachable." Go
Yeah,
ahead, Phil.
I went old school tonight because I'm in Florida and I only have my laptop. I don't have my dual screens, so I've been handwriting notes tonight on the hotel paper, Matt. So I was scripting like a good coach would do.
There you go. There you go, man. I got all my scripts right here.
Yeah.
Can't leave it on the screen too long. Somebody might pause it and zoom in and try to get my plays. But
No,
this is episode 33, Be Coachable. Phillip, you kind of led us into this topic. So go ahead and give us some explanation and why you wanted to go with this.
so obviously I say this every week. I have boys that play ball and I played ball and I think in every aspect of your life, even after your sports, I think you have to be coachable. That I say that to my team here at work. I kind of relate everything to athletics. If you're not willing to grow, show some humility, take ownership, and be accountable for your actions in anything that you do, your Christian walk, your athletic walk, your professional walk at work, then you're not going to be able to advance and grow and really understand where you're at. And that's where being coachable comes in. I heard the baseball coach at Clemson, Jack Leggett, was speaking one day when Jagger and them made the state championship up there, and he said that, and it resonated with me right there about 4 years ago. Be coachable, be a good teammate, be good in the locker, be good where your feet are. He said that too, and those two things just have set me on a new path because it made so much sense. Being coachable is more about just being an athlete. It goes in your life, and it's just been a great. I knew you would like it being a coach, and I'm sure you've probably used this phrase a bunch and have got a bunch to add to that. But that's where it came from for me. It was a coach that actually said it, and it made just so much sense. And once I applied it to my life, I've really gotten a lot better at life too. So
Yeah, I've probably said it a million times, if not more, throughout my career. But being coachable, man, is very important. And then when you apply it to your spiritual walk, like listening to the head coach, not Matt Quinn, the head coach, like Coach Jesus. Like that's
yeah,
the ultimate head coach, and taking that correction, right? So um, great athletes want to be coached. They want to be told what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, how can they get better. And so, like as men of faith, we have to be able to take the coaching right from the good book. We have to take the coaching, from this right here, and apply that and get better and continue
yep,
to grow. And even as a coach now, when we talk about the football side of things, our coaching staff is always trying to find opportunities and ways to grow and be coachable ourselves. Doing clinics, studying other coaches, studying film, like all that stuff is helping us be coachable. And when you brought this topic up, Phillip, it's like, man, if I'm going to do all that for football and I'm going to put forth the effort and study and learn and help myself get better and be coachable on the football aspect of it, I need to apply that to my faith as well. Like I need to be coachable there. I need to get in the Bible. I need to read some verses. I need to read some passages and be coachable in my faith as well, man. So I love the topic. Obviously, being a coach, it's something that I've said a million times, but now turning and applying it to my faith has been amazing. Ever since 2 weeks ago when you brought this topic up, I've kind of been thinking about it. And the wheels have been spinning on
yeah,
how we could approach this topic and approach it with faith, and listening to our ultimate head coach and studying his playbook and getting the correction and the guidance from our head coach. The same way that I want my players to do it here, right? I want them
yeah.
to trust me, right? I ask them to trust your coaches. Well, we need to trust God.
That's it.
We need to trust his plan. Like I ask our players, trust the game plan. The coaches are going to get you in the right spot. We're going to teach you the right things. We're going to have the right plays called. We need to do that in our faith, man.
And I tell you, it was Monty Lee, not Jack Leggett. I apologize. Jack's back now, I think, as an ambassador. But Monty Lee said that be great where your feet are, and be coachable. And again, it goes back to your willingness to grow. And not you grow in your knowledge and you grow in the Lord. If you get in the Bible and you read that and you get that knowledge, you'll be able to grow so much. Because I think a lot of people sometimes are skeptical about maybe talking about Jesus because we don't have the confidence with what we've learned in the Bible to back it up. We're not sure if we're saying the right things. Well, that's where you got to get in that Bible and read it so you know it when you go out there and have the knowledge to know it. And again, being coachable in the Bible is being humble enough and being disciplined enough to get that time aside and read the Bible. We can think of every reason not to read it, right? But it's so easy now. You can Google it. I have a Bible app on my phone now. So, there's no excuses of you not being able to read the Bible these days. You can get it in any kind of version, the living version, the dumbed down version. You could probably buy the Cliff Notes of the Bible now, I'm sure. But, you got to get that willingness to grow. You got to be humble yourself down. You got to recognize that you don't have it all figured out. That was one thing that hit me when I was studying this lesson. I made sure to write that down. And I have to use that myself because every day is going to bring challenges. Every day is going to bring something different, something new, and be open minded to that and be willing to adapt to that. Don't think the world's going to shut down because you had to change course a little bit. That's the beauty of life itself and being coachable. The plan don't always go to script, right? I mean, so you got to be able to adapt and shift and still stay positive and help each other and get to where we're trying to get to, which is heaven in everybody's case. And while we're down here, we want to win championships and we want to get promoted and we want to do those type of things. But the ultimate goal is to stay disciplined for the Lord, to pass His message as much as we can, to gain that knowledge that He wants us to gain, and the ultimate prize is to one day make it into heaven.
You said two things there that I wanted to elaborate on, Philip, and the key word in the first one was grow, right? And one of the notes that I put here, if you want to grow, you have to be willing to be coached. You have to be willing to be corrected. If you want to grow, that's what you have to do. You have to be coachable. You have to allow that to happen in your life, right? So you want to grow, you want to become a champion, right? That's the second point. You talked about championships. Well, the championship rings and the trophies and the medals and all that stuff that I've earned through my career, coaching, playing, all that, those are great. I'm proud of those and I love those things. But I can't imagine what the ring looks like when you get through those golden gates, man. Like with that ring, that trophy is going to be amazing, right? It's and in my mind, I know you're not going to get like a championship ring when you get there. Well, you might
You
if you
might, yeah, I mean,
who knows? But like
just ask for
just
one; they might give you one.
just imagine what that ring looks like, man. I can't even fathom how cool it would be to win that ultimate championship and walk through those gates and see relatives again and know that, you get there and well done, my good and faithful servant. Like that is the ultimate championship. To get that, you have to be coachable. Just like to get the conference championship, you've got to be coachable. You've got to be corrected. You've got to grow. So I think all that ties together here with our faith and football.
Well, just like Zach's verse, Second Timothy, I fought the good fight, finished a race. That's a great, uh, verse for people, um, because we do have to put in a fight every day. Everything's it's a battle. It's a race. It's a marathon, right? It's a long distance run. But two other points I had that I wanted to share with that is ownership and accountability. Goes along with willingness to grow and humility, right? Ownership. You got to be able to own your mistakes. If you can't own them, you did it. I think, and I tell my kids this all the time. You did it. You know you did it. I know you did it. Don't sit there and tell me you didn't do it. Just own it. And I tell my people that if you own it, will there still be consequences? Probably, but they won't be near as bad as me and you going back and forth about the fact that you might not have done it, or you didn't do what I told you to do, or you didn't do it the right way, or maybe you didn't run the right route, or you didn't call the right play. Whatever it is, take ownership of it, fix it, and get it in your mind not to have that again. And then the last thing, accountability, man. You got to hold yourself accountable. You got to hold each other accountable, because if there's no accountability, nothing works. If I tell you to stop putting your hand in the cookie jar and I don't eventually do something about it, you're going to continue to get that cookie out of the cookie jar until there's accountability, right? And accountability can come in all kinds of forms. It's not always discipline, right? So we want to talk about those things too. And those four parts put together, I think puts together what I like for my team to be coachable. Your willingness to grow, your humility, your ownership, and your accountability. And you put these four things together and you really put it out there. Not only will you grow in your life, but you'll grow in the Lord too, man. That's the biggest thing I finally had to understand is take that ownership of all my mistakes. Stop blaming everybody else. Stop thinking I had it all figured out. Take accountability and get in there and start getting that knowledge and growing the Lord. And it's worked tremendous measures for me.
Yeah, you might have hacked into my notes, Philip, because I put down being coachable isn't easy. It requires humility, discipline, and accountability. And so, like, we're on the same page here. Like that's not us. It's not a coincidence. That's God leading this show, I believe. And I think, correction doesn't always feel good, but it always produces growth, right? Like it always helps you. And it kind of goes back to one of the things that I always say, in sports, you get a W or you get an L. So in my terms, I say you either get a win or you get a learning opportunity. It's not a loss, it's a learning opportunity. So we learn from our past, we learn from our mistakes, we learn from those losses, and we get better and we move forward, right? So I love the topic. I love where this thing's going. We'll jump into some scripture if you're ready, Philip.
I am. You want to go ahead with yours?
Yeah. So my verse tonight is Proverbs 12:1. Proverbs 12:1 says, "Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid."
Pretty
I
much.
don't know how much more direct you could be when you talk about like you love discipline, you love knowledge, and if you don't like correction, you don't want to grow, you don't want to develop, you don't want to get better, you don't want to be coachable, then you're stupid.
Yep.
That's as
Pretty much.
direct as you can be.
Yeah, I mean that's a very, very good verse. I lean on that one a lot again with my children. Not trying to call them stupid, but at the same time, if you can't take the correction, then that's going to lead you into a situation that's going to be really stupid for all of us. So, but my verse was Psalms 25:9. He guides the humble in what is right, and he teaches them his way. So, humility, being humble. If you can humble yourself before God and you can open your mind and you can open your heart, he'll guide you to what's right and he'll teach you his way. And, for people that are, I guess, what we call non-believers, if, you know, I don't never think I was a non-believer, Matt. I think I was a believer in a bad way with blinders on, but I wasn't humbling myself and trying to learn his way. I was trying to do my way. And obviously we see where my way got me. Like it gets most people that doesn't really have that guidance in their life. But when I finally gave it over to him and I started to humble myself and listen and let him teach me his way, my path has gotten 20 times better. I mean, I can't tell you, well, I can. I could list thing after thing that every time something happens now, I just smile. It's like, but God, won't he do it? That's like today, I was looking in the bank account, was paying some bills. I had a few things come out. I opened up an envelope and there's a check in there for my escrow account for my property taxes. I didn't know was coming, you know. Now it wasn't a lot, but it's just like, man, yeah, that's crazy, that I was sitting here worrying about this. Boom, there that is. And it's just little things like that. It's not $1 million sitting on my porch, you know. It's not a new Lamborghini. It's not a mansion, but he always shows up and lets me know that he's there and he's going to take care of me in the smallest ways, but they're beautiful, man. I'm telling you, I could list them, how he's just shown up in my life, the last year, and it's just I love it.
Well, I'll jump to real talk for the week, Philip. I love the topic, and it's so good for this real talk topic that I put down. A lot of people, we can say athletes, we can say workers, employees, parents, friends, whatever. A lot of people don't struggle with ability; they struggle with attitude. Right. So one of the things I say is you can control two things: attitude and effort. We've said that on this show before, but they don't struggle with ability. They have the ability. They have the God-given talent. You have the God-given talent in your field. Our players, recruits, you guys have the ability, but you struggle with attitude, right? You get defensive. You make excuses. You resist correction. I had a coach one time that used to say BCD. Don't be a BCD guy. Blame, complain, defend. Don't be one of those guys. Take ownership of it, right? And because people get defensive and they avoid being coachable, they get stuck. If you can't be coached, guys, if you can't be coached, athletes, people at your job, whatever, parents, fathers, friends, if you cannot be coached, you can't be developed. And if you can't be developed, guys, you will never reach your full potential. So I want you guys to take a look in the mirror and decide if you're going to be able to be coachable, right? Decide if you're going to study the playbook. Decide if you are going to be a BCD, if you're going to blame, complain, and defend when things happen in your life, when things don't go your way. Or you're going to take ownership of it and keep moving forward and keep pressing forward and learn from those mistakes. So I could go on for about 45 minutes to an hour just on this topic or just this real talk, Philip. But that's where I'm going to end it because I think we need to really focus on our attitude toward life, toward our faith, toward our family, toward our friends, toward our positions at work. take take ownership of that. Be humble, right? We've talked about all these different things and these different key words, but don't be a BCD. Don't blame, complain, defend. Take ownership of it and be coachable.
Yeah, and some of this goes back to the message that I heard in church Sunday with Pastor Chad Vick. I wrote a couple things down and he said it just kind of goes back to your problems. You're mentioning right there. It says, don't manage the warning, fix the problem. Right? You're gonna get a warning that things are about to go south. Don't try to manage that warning. Don't try to, sugarcoat it. Fix the problem. You know, Again, going back to being coachable, is it your attitude? Probably. I can tell you, my attitude has cost me in past. It's cost me jobs. That attitude kicks in. And the next thing you know, it's coming out of my mouth where I can get it. And once it's out there, and it's not coming back. Old buddy used to tell me you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right? So manage the warning, fix the problem. Attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. I can't say it enough. Um, and it goes back again, it correlates directly with what we're talking about tonight. If you get a ball hit to you and it hits you off the chest and you don't get it in, the last thing you want to do is this. You got to get back in there and get the next one. And is it hard to do? Yeah. If you're going across the middle and the ball goes off your hands and you miss the pass, is coach going to be mad? Yes. But you got to figure out a way to get yourself under control and get back in there. If you have a bad day, you can't just go off the end and run to the bar and go try to cover up your problems. God wants you to manage that problem, to fix that problem, and come to Him and get with Him and help you do it. But the way you approach it is everything. And how do you do that? You pray. It takes a lot of prayer. But if you can ever figure that out, like I did, before I speak now, I pray. If I don't like what my boss says, I take about 10 minutes, I analyze it, and I pray. I ain't snapping back at him because he's the boss. You know, if I want to keep this job and pay my bills, then I got to be coachable.
Absolutely, man. And so real quick, Phillip, I want you to reshare that message that you heard from Pastor Chad Vick, because I thought that was a great quote and I want to add to it as well. But go ahead.
Don't manage the warning, fix the problem. And there's a couple of them you hit on, but that was the main one that kind of fit where we're going with tonight.
Mhm.
And I use that now because in safety, what do? We're constantly fixing problems, and if you can't just manage it,
Yeah.
if there's a hole in the ground and we don't fix it, somebody's going to fall in that hole. You can't just see it. Oh, there's a hole in the ground. You got to go do something about it.
So when you said that, it made me think of something that I say to our coaching staff all the time. Don't bring me a problem, bring me a solution. I tell our guys, like, if you see something going on, you see something that needs to be changed or corrected or fixed with our football program, like, don't come in here and just tell me the problem. Like, bring me a solution and let's discuss what the best solution is. And that's how we approach it, man. And I love it. It hit me again when you talked about what Pastor Chad Vick said. Thought it was amazing, man. As we move forward tonight, locker room challenge. Locker room challenge.
I know it's a good one.
Yeah,
Already know it's a good one.
yeah. Locker room challenge. I want you guys to open up yourselves and be coachable. Okay, so to do that, I want you to ask somebody for feedback. Ask from feedback from a coach, from a mentor, from a boss, from someone you trust, a friend. Ask for that feedback. And then ask yourself, after they give you that constructive criticism, that feedback, how do I respond when I'm corrected? Like when they gave me that feedback and they were honest and open with that feedback, did internally in my mind, did I say, oh, he's lying? That ain't what I do. That ain't how, that ain't, are you thinking that? Do you get defensive or do you use that to get better? And so, guys, the locker room challenge, ask for feedback, get that feedback, and then think to yourself, like, how do I respond to this? Do I get defensive or do I get better? And obviously, we're encouraging you to use that to get better, right? Use that as being coachable. Take that coaching, take that constructive criticism, and grow in whatever field you're in, whatever profession you're in your faith, whatever it is. Take the coaching and get better.
Yeah, and I do that a lot, especially in this new position. I just actually put out a survey the other day to my guys and my team, uh, asking for honest feedback of how they think my first 60 days have been and what do they think uh, I could do better, do worse. I want to hear their feedback. Now, again, that doesn't always mean I can change it and can conform to everybody, right? But I do want their feedback. I want their honest opinion and assessment because, um, there's when you're on a team, and I think you could probably relate to this better than most people. To get to a championship team, everybody has to be on the same page. Everybody's got to be willing to take criticism, to give criticism, to lift each other up, to hold each other accountable. And that goes from top to bottom. I mean, yes, there's going to be leaders on the team. Yes, there's going to be a coach. And at the end of the day, is this team my responsibility? Yes. Is the team your responsibility? Yes. So the final call is going to come from us. But if they don't feel like they're a major part of this team and their input can't be heard and their voice can't be heard, how much of their effort are they going to give us? Right. So, I've also learned to remain coachable no matter where I'm at. Um, I don't know it all, and there's still lots to learn. And lessons like this give me rejuvenation. It gets me pumped up and gets me, really kind of getting those ideas of how we can get better. Because I can tell you everything I do on my team relates back to sports. I'm glad they're sports fans because if not, they wouldn't like me.
Well, man, we just, earlier today before we practiced, we had our film session, and offensively, we talked about everybody being on the same page. And you just said it. We showed some clips from practice. We're like, all right, this guy, this one piece took a step that with his wrong foot, and look how it threw off the play. This one guy cut his route 1 yard too short. Look how it threw off the play. And so we talk about that, man, and being coachable, and everybody's got a role, and every part is important. And I think that's important in our life. Like everything we do has some significance, right? We're doing everything for a reason. For us at Averett, we're going to class for a reason. We're going to study hall for a reason. We're going to the training room. We're doing rehab for a reason. We're practicing this drill for a reason. And when we relate that to faith, like we have to find our reasons for why we're doing these things, right? What is our reason for reading the Bible daily? What is your reason for listening to Armor Up Athletics and listening to these two idiots share, right? What is your reason behind that? Is it to be coachable and get better? Because that's what it should be about.
And going back to last week's episode with Blake, I mean, he said something in that interview that is, that I really had been trying to do, but maybe it slipped on a little bit. It doesn't matter where you put me. I'm going to talk about God, right? That's the mission. That's the mission. I got a job to do, and when I first came here, and I don't want this like this is a stain on my company, but I put a Bible verse in my email signature, and they made me take it off. And so now that just makes me get louder when I'm at work. So now you're not going to just not going to read it in my email. You're going to hear me say it every time you see me now. And I told my boss that. I'm like, well, every time I see you, I'm going to quote that verse to you. So, you're not going to silence me. I get that wherever you don't want to offend anybody, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just wanting to tell people about my God. And if you don't want to hear it, that's fine. You have that option too. But it is my job to talk about God wherever I'm at and every chance that I get.
Guys, be coachable. Be coachable. Take constructive criticism. Use it to get better. I tell our guys all the time, hear the message, not the tone, because as a coach, sometimes we can yell and scream, but I tell them to hear the message that we're telling them, not the tone that we're using. Hear the message, not the tone, and do the same thing in your walk with Christ. Be coachable, get better, continue to grow, chase that ultimate championship ring, and keep growing and keep getting better daily.
That reminds me, did you see the clip of the woman basketball coach yelling at the other girl? And the media immediately tried to make that a bad thing about how she was yelling. And then I saw the guy that interpreted what she said. And then the player come up and at the interview was like, look, my coach loves me and my coach gives me tough love. And what she was saying to her, when they read the lips, was like, this is your opportunity. This is your team. Don't. So she was yelling,
Mhm.
but it was a great message, just like you just said. Like she was given the message of a lifetime, but she was doing it because she was upset and she knew that player could play better than that.
Yeah.
And that's awesome to me, man. And the way that girl stood there and took it and then changed her whole game and played lights out the rest of the game, that's being coachable.
Yeah, and that's what she said in the interview. The player, she said, I told her when I came here I wanted to be coached hard, and she
Yep.
was doing exactly what we needed to do for me to grow and me to get better in that moment. And I thought the response was great and shut down all the internet haters and all that stuff. Like she wants to be coached. Like, are we willing to be coached? Are we willing to be coached in our personal lives? Are we willing to be coached in our faith? Like we have to be. We have to be able to grow. We have to be able to be coached hard and accept that constructive criticism.
And a lot of us, like you and I, have to be coached hard. We're not. We obviously you whisper it to us or you try to say it gently. A lot of times we're not going to hear it. You know, I think a lot of times too, growing up, and people may interpret this the wrong way, but yelling was love, right? I knew that when my dad fussed at me, I knew he loved me. I never questioned that. I never questioned if my grandpa loved me, if my dad loved me, if my mom loved me. Never questioned that. I questioned sometimes if he was going to quit beating me, but never questioned if he loved me. I probably asked for it too, man. Don't get me wrong. But
Well,
tough love is a good thing to me.
absolutely. And I think, with our guys, we tell them like we're coaching you, we're yelling at you, and we are trying to correct you and trying to get you better. There's a problem when you go to a practice and you don't get coached, you don't get corrected. That means the coach has given up on you and has lost their faith in what you can do. The good news is with our ultimate head coach, he never gets to that point. He never
Right.
gives up on us. He continues to try to coach us and coach us and coach us. We just have to be receptive to the coaching, right? And I think that's important to understand. Like no matter what we do, what you've been through, what you've done, where you've been, the things you've said, whatever it is, like our head coach is not going to stop trying to coach you and trying to grow you. Now, it is on you to be receptive to that coaching and growing in your faith.
Yeah, and poor God and poor Jesus. I didn't help their record. They had a 30 plus year losing season with me. You know, it's just, you know, and they never stopped coaching me. You're not going to lose your scholarship with God, right? You're going to stay on scholarship. Your plan's going to always be there. He's going to continue to coach you until you get it right. And again, luckily for God, he doesn't like get measured in losing seasons sometimes because he would be fired with me.
Well,
They would have fired him.
he's undefeated, man.
He is in the long run. I mean,
He's
absolutely.
undefeated. And that I put that one of those shirts I put on the Armor Up Athletics website. It says God's team, and it's like the script, like a team font, and then underneath it says undefeated champs. And then on the back, it's got a trophy with a cross on it, and I love that shirt. And I was like sitting there playing around making designs. I love to do that now.
Yes, you
Um,
do.
and I put that shirt together. I was like, man, this would be really cool. Like it looks like a script, like a baseball jersey, and it's undefeated champs. I'm like, God's team is undefeated, guys, and we just have to accept the coaching because He's going to lead you to a championship.
Praise God for that, man, and praise God that he kept coaching me, and that he stayed in the fight with me, and that he did coach me hard, and he did get me to where I'm at, and he's still coaching me.
And
And
he wasn't losing with you, Phillip. You might have said that a little wrong. Like y'all were still in spring training. He was
okay,
still getting you right. He was still
I was
correct.
definitely third string.
Y'all were still in. I was still in spring training for a while. We just had an extended training camp there,
I
right?
was on the scout team for a
Yeah,
long time.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh man. So man, be coachable. Episode 33. The Larry Bird, Grant Hill, Tony Dorsett episode. We had three good 33s thrown out there. We should have kept Zach on when we talked about sports when we jump into our sports here because I had some NCAA tournament stuff, and I know being the Duke fan that he is, he would have loved talking about this UConn Duke game.
No, he probably would have got up and got out on that one. So, and I don't have much room to talk either since my guys dismounted in the second round. So,
Yeah.
you know. It's the tournament. That's why I love the NCAA tournament. It's just
I
you
would
don't know.
love for everyone to go back to a couple episodes ago where Phillip talked about, well, Florida's got a chance to win this thing.
They did. It just disappeared in the second round.
No, man, Final Four's up, man. The
Yeah.
Final Four is coming up. You got two number one seeds still in it, Michigan and Arizona. Arizona's playing some ball. Like we did both throw out the Arizona team as we were talking about, this tournament. Michigan is playing out of their minds. I mean, they go win an Elite Eight game by 30 points, bro. Like 95 to 62 in the Elite Eight. Like that discrepancy shouldn't be there. They're a really good team. Then on the other side of the bracket, you have number 3 Illinois and number 2 UConn. Obviously, UConn just took down Duke with an incredible last second shot, and then I'm sure Zach was mad. And there's a lot of Duke fans that I know that were,
Why did
whatever
he
about the game.
pass that ball? I just don't get it. Bless his heart.
The
I
thing
know,
is,
and he's feeling it too, man.
yeah, he is. And if he just holds it and lets him foul him, he's going to the line and getting some free throws. And who knows? Maybe he makes it, maybe he misses them. I don't know. We'll never know. But hindsight is always 2020. Now, if
Yeah.
he would have, we look at it from a different perspective. If he passes that ball and it's a complete pass and everything's good, like they've wasted more time and then they get the foul. So we could have been sitting here saying, "Oh,
Yeah. I
he's
mean,
a genius
obviously,
for making that pass." You know.
I don't think he had any inkling that guy was fixing to steal his pass and launch up a desperation three and make it. So the
So in the
odds of
Final
that had to
Four,
have been slim.
yeah, yeah. Final Four, Michigan, Arizona, Illinois, and UConn coming up on Saturday. Philip, we've tightened up the field a little bit. Where are you leaning with these four?
UConn, Arizona.
That's where you think the finals is going to be, huh?
Yeah, and I think Arizona's going to win it. I'm sticking with Arizona.
UConn, Arizona. I mean, I can't go against that. I
I'm not
think,
a big UConn fan. I'm not a big Hurley fan.
yeah, he's
I have
he's
to give him
different.
credit. He puts those teams together year after year, man.
Yeah, he's different, but man, he's getting the job done. You
Yeah,
know,
he's a weird dude, but
I'd say there's no
headbutting
wrong way to win,
referees,
I
you know.
guess. Well, that's a little odd, but there's no wrong way to win.
No,
I mean,
no.
also on the women's side, the Final Four coming up. Um, Shocker on the women's side. All four left are one seeds.
We got a
And
rematch of the championship last year, right? South Carolina,
yeah,
UConn.
yeah. You got Texas, UCLA, and then you have South Carolina, UConn, coming up on Friday. And the women's tournament went exactly where I thought it would be. Now you got 4-1s. Like, who do you pick, Philip? What are you leaning towards here? Texas, UCLA, and then on the other side, South Carolina, UConn. Like, I think the South Carolina UConn matchup is obviously the one to watch. And by all intents and purposes, I think this is just me. I'm no guru on women's basketball, but I think that's the championship before the championship.
I do too. I think there's some heartburn there for South Carolina from last year getting beat by 30 in the championship game.
Mhm.
I think Dawn Staley is probably a magician when it comes to just year after year having success. I think South Carolina beats UConn. I think Texas beats UCLA. It sets up I think a fourth time for those two. And Texas has proven all year I just don't think they have enough of South Carolina. I'm like you. I don't think UCLA or Texas have enough for either one of those teams. But I think Dawn gets the job done this time, and I think South Carolina wins another natty.
I love it. Lifetime Gamecock fan. I still claim, especially the women's basketball team.
Hey, they carry your whole program, bro. You
You
can't.
got, I
You got
mean,
to give them credit. Dawn Staley is a monster.
I'm leaning towards what you said. I mean, I think Texas is going to beat UCLA. Texas again, another blowout in an Elite Eight game. Like, this is getting down to the nitty. Texas beats Michigan 77-41 in the
Texas
Elite
is a
Eight.
good basketball team.
Yeah.
They have been all year.
Oh yeah. But I think UCLA or Texas just doesn't match up. I think the championship before the championship is Friday with South Carolina and UConn.
Yep.
Winner of
And
that game wins it all.
again, there's some. I think there's some payback on South Carolina's mind because that was a pretty tough loss last year in the championship. The way they got beat too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they remembered that one.
Yep. A couple other things going on in the sporting world, Phillip. You're going to have to fill me in on this. We were talking about a little bit before the show. We started recording. Um, this World Cup stuff and soccer stuff. I'm trying to learn. I really am trying, man. I just it's blowing my mind. Like you told me somebody was playing a friendly, and I'm like, what is friendly about sports? Like, and then you explained it to me. I'm like, oh, it's like a scrimmage.
Yep, they
Okay.
do a few warm ups before they start in June. Just kind of practice sessions. They count. I mean, they're on national television, and you certainly don't want to get beat like the U.S. did the other night, 5-2. But if you get beat 5-2 in a friendly, you realize you got some work to do before the World Cup starts in June. So you better tighten up. But we'll have to sit down. I mean, there's offense and defense. I think once you got into it and you knew the scheme
Mhm.
and the plays behind it, I think you would really enjoy it. It's kind of like football, but it never stops. It just goes. There's no resetting. There's no, you're running plays on the fly, and it's really cool. I've come to enjoy it over the last 6, 7 years. My kids have been playing, but I did play a little bit back in the day, but never got into it like this. But just real quick, the World Cup being here this year in the United States is huge for U.S. soccer in the United States. We have a development problem here. That's why we can't play on the stage that the world plays on. But with Messi coming here, a lot of the overseas players coming to the MLS, it's made the MLS bigger. The World Cup's here. Copa was here. Everything that's big in soccer has been here in the last 3 years. So very good for the United States to have it here. I hope the stadiums are set. I hope the fans come out and support it. I really, really, really would love to see U.S. soccer grow and get to a place where we could compete on a worldwide level. We got the team to do it this year. They're not showing it in these first two friendlies.
The soccer, man, and I'll say this, like even as a football guy, I can admit this. It is the most popular sport in the world.
Mhm.
Now, when you centralize the United States, probably not the most popular in the United States, probably going to
No,
be football there, but worldwide, it is the most popular sport in the world. And I think some of the developmental issues comes from other countries focusing on nothing but soccer. They don't have the NFL and college football that takes all the viewers and the money and the time and all that away from them. And soccer is just so much more accessible, right?
it
You need a
is.
ball. You don't need shoulder pads, helmet, all this
Right.
stuff. Like you need a ball. You can like get out there in the yard and kick a ball around, and you can pick up the game of soccer. So I think
And
that's why it's more accessible in other countries because they don't need a bunch of money to start soccer. Like just give me a ball and let's roll.
here's another caveat to what people, because I've been to Spain and spent some time over there and watched it, and I've been in Puerto Rico and watched it down there. The United States has a big tendency to develop around wins and losses, right? We want to win. At 5 years old, we want to win. The other countries are concentrating on development over winning at that age. By the time they get to 12 and 13 to 14-year old, they are playing on a 20-year-old level because they have developed and got the skill set where now even club soccer, and we play club, this isn't a knock on all club, but club is an entity. You pay your money, you pay your money and go play, and then they focus on wins. I think we have to get back to development because soccer is such a technical sport. You're playing a game with your feet, so you have to develop it. You have to, it's like anything else. You got to develop. We spend a lot of time developing football and baseball and basketball, and soccer's just not quite got there yet. Not like they do it over there. And you're right, it is the biggest sport. You go to Spain, they don't play a lot of football in Spain. They play soccer on every street corner because it takes a ball.
I think that development piece for our young people is often overlooked. This is one of my gripes and complaints with youth sports is we should be focusing on development. We've got too many people trying to get out here and win a championship trophy at the rec league or championship trophy, whatever. Like that should not be the focus should be developing your players and getting them involved and loving the game. I had a guy one time down in North Augusta was talking about the rec league and the programs. He said, "How would you measure, rec football for us when we started up our rec program and how we were going to train them and get them ready to play at the high school level?" And I said, "Here's how I would evaluate our rec coaches. How many of your kids signed up to play the next year? Simple. I'm not worried about the wins, the losses, what you did, but how many of them fell in love with the game and got developed and decided, hey, I love this. I'm going to sign up again next year. And that's where I think a lot of our youth sports need to get back to. We need to stop, living for these championship rings that you get every other weekend in a travel baseball tournament. We need to focus on the development. And yes, the winning and learning how to compete is part of that. I understand that, but let's shift the focus to having fun and getting those kids to re-sign up and fall in love with the game and develop them, right? Instead of worrying about the rings. Because in reality, if you do that the right way, you develop them and you love them and they love the sport and you make them fall in love with it, the wins happen. Like it's a byproduct of it. And I think that's what we have to do, not just soccer, but baseball, football, basketball, any youth sports. Like if you're not at the high school level, that middle school's getting a little more competitive, and I get that. But under middle school, like let's focus on the development. How many kids are going to come back and fall in love with the game and sign up next year?
It's what it should be. And again, not knocking anything specifically, but I love to win. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't. I do. I want to win. But the only way you're going to win is if your kid can play ball. And he's not going to learn to play ball by you going out there focusing solely on winning, right? Let's find the best four kids. Let's put them right in here and let's put them up here and don't worry about these other kids. You know, everybody's got to be developed the right way, learn the game, learn the fundamentals. Because I'm gonna tell you, even at the high school level, uh, it shows if you've been developed or not. Because by the time you get there, your IQ should be there for basic stuff. Your basic fundamentals should be there, and your love of the game should be there, right? You should have all that by the time you get to maybe middle school or the JV level. And then when you get to the varsity level, game on. But you're still developing. But now we can knuckle down and try to win us a state championship and a district title and things like that. So, some people may disagree with that, and that's fine. I mean, everybody's got their own outlook, and I'm not against travel sports completely. But I think we focused on the wrong thing. I think we focused too much on winning and not developing.
We need to
That's just
focus on the development and being coachable.
correct.
Episode 33. Like we need to teach that. One
Yep.
of the things that like really, really grinded my gears was when I would see a rec basketball game and this team has just one really good player. And like, hey, what are we going to do here? Well, when y'all get the ball, y'all pass it to this kid. Let
Right.
him shoot. Like,
Yep.
what are we really teaching
Give it to
about
him.
the game? Like, yes, he's the best
I
player.
don't have any plays. Just give it to him.
Yeah, give it to Will. Like what are we doing? And so that really bothered me when I look at it. I could go on and on about youth sports and
Yeah, I
what
could
like
too.
what we
It's kind
need
of
to
a
do and like I don't know. But I think being coachable and developing talent like that can be taught at an early age. And development and that process comes with it. And then the wins come, man. So like again, when I was at North Augusta, my oldest daughter came to me. She never played a sport. She's into dance and all that good stuff, which is a sport. Okay, I will admit that. They're athletic and they, on rhythm and beat and all that stuff. Like it is an athletic deal. But when she went and signed up and told me she wanted to play softball, I said, okay, well, I'm going to sign you up. We're standing in line at signups and she looks at me and she's like, Dad, you coach everybody else. Will you coach my team? And I was like, I did not want to. But when she said that, I was like, okay, yeah, baby, I'm gonna coach your team. So I went in there and I was like, look, if y'all need volunteers, yes, we need volunteers. Every rec department needs volunteers. And I said, look, I just want to be an assistant coach. Whoever picks up Maddie, I'll help them so I can coach her team. Great. Well, they had too many kids sign up to where they needed to create another team. So they called me first. Hey, will you pick up this extra team? We needed another team. We had enough girls sign up to create another team. All right, cool. Well, at this point, I had already missed the evaluation day where they go out there and they, rank them one through whatever, and then they draft their teams to try to make it as even as possible. I went to it to watch Maddie, but I wasn't evaluating. I was just out there hanging out. So we go into the draft, and I'm like, anybody got a evaluation sheet? Like, can I take a copy of yours or whatever so I can look at least try to make this as fair as possible? And those people were like, no, you ain't getting mine. They were focused on the wins. And it hit me in that moment. I was like, you know what, whatever. And I'll just pick names. And so I did. And we focused on the development and having fun and falling in love with the game of softball. And those kids had so much fun that year. Like we had two or three girls that could play. Like I randomly picked them out of a hat and I got them. But as a whole, like they got so much better. Like we lost our first game by 15 runs. By the end of the year, we ended up with a winning record. The end of the year, the team that ended up winning the championship, we beat them and the team that beat us by 15 at the beginning of the year. But that was never a goal was to go in and beat them. Like, the goal was
Right.
like development and practice and being coachable and having fun and it turned out we beat them and it was fun to see that actually happen live with a group of kids that I had no idea what was going on. I know baseball, softball's slightly different, by the way.
Yeah.
And just learning that game and coaching them at that 10-year-old level, 9 and 10-year-old level was a lot of fun to be a part of. And it taught me a lot about coaching. Like it taught me about breaking it down and getting back to fun, man, because we're on so much competitive at the high school level and college level that getting it back to being a fun experience for our guys and
Yeah.
girls. And I
You have
took
to
that
enjoy
with
it
me. I
at
took that
that
with
age.
me, man.
Yeah.
And that changed the way I coached the high school team. It changed the way I coach now to turn it into some fun time, man. Like at the end of the day, yes, we want to win and this is my job, but it's a game. Like let's have fun with it, man. Like pressure. Pressure, like yes, there's pressure moments, but like pressure is when you got $100 in your bank account and you got to pay the rent tomorrow and then your rent's 900. Like that's pressure. Like that's fine. Like this is a game, bro. Like let's have fun.
Yeah, and the thing is, one of the guests the guests we were supposed to have on tonight that we're going to bring on, he does a great job at development. He coached both of my kids, and they do travel sports, but he has a lot of wisdom and knowledge on how to develop, and he puts a lot of emphasis on that. And he said something. You gotta learn to enjoy practice first of all. You gotta learn to enjoy practice because that's where you're gonna learn that. You're not gonna learn in a game, right? You gotta learn in practice, and then pressure's a privilege. You know, you got to learn those two things. That pressure is a privilege in ball, and if you develop the right way and you learn it and you get confident, you'll want that pressure. You'll learn to manage it. You'll learn to be able to play with it, and that's when you know you were developed the right way. When you can go out there and you can function in the biggest of moments, even if you fail in that moment, you were ready for it. That just makes all the difference in the world. And being able to not get out there because you're unsure, you don't know. And I've watched our JV team this year. They're developing. Coach Jordan does a good job. But we've missed some development at a younger age because sometimes we don't field the ball correctly and things like that. So he's getting back to development in practices, and practices are hard. They're grinding. They're he was hitting fungo the other day, and I'm telling you, he was probably hitting 100 off the bat on the fungo. But you gotta love it. You gotta learn to love it. If you don't fall in love with the game at an early age, it's gonna be really hard as you get older because the practices get longer, they get harder, they get hotter, they get sweatier, and the pressure mounts as you get up. So I
I think
loved it. I wish I had one more game, man. I wish I could. I tell my boys that all the time. I wish I could go back and play one more game.
yeah.
Because I sure miss playing.
I think I love this topic so much, Philip. We could spend 4 or 5 hours
We
on this
could.
topic.
This has
I
been a
want to
good one.
say one more thing about this and with youth sports and development. If you can't fall in love with the game now and eliminate that pressure, you're going to get burnt out. That's what's happening to our guys. Like they're being forced at such an early age. You got to focus on football. You can't play baseball, basketball, soccer. You got to focus on this. We got to focus in and get here. Like, no, man, let's be like playing multiple sports develops that coachability, right? You're getting different drills, you're getting different techniques, you're getting different voices. And we've got to stop putting so much pressure on our young people to pick one sport. Like your boys are playing everything, right? Basketball, soccer, baseball, like they're playing all these different things and that's going to help them in the long run. And like for us, we want guys that have played multiple sports. It shows that they're willing to compete in multiple things. It shows they have different skill sets. It shows that they're being coached by different people, hearing different voices, and they're coachable. Like we love that. So Stop forcing our young people, anybody that's listening, stop forcing them to pick a sport. Like they'll naturally gravitate when they get to the high school level and they get older, like they'll naturally gravitate to a sport, and that's fine. But when we're talking about 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, like let them do it all. Like
I literally
let's stop
said
playing
this.
180
Yep.
baseball games as a like 8-year-old. Like you can't be playing more games than the MLB guys. Like that's just stupid. And so let's develop. Go play basketball. That's different footwork. That's different agility. Go play soccer. That's different footwork, different agility, different coaching, different styles. Like develop your whole body, and then you'll naturally figure out where you need to be.
Absolutely. I live by the Chipper Jones model. Chipper said that same thing. It makes you a better athlete when you play more sports. It increases your IQ. You have to learn more. And at the end of the day, I had this argument. I say argument. It wasn't like a bad argument, but I mean I basically told the travel program I'm not going to make my kid pick a sport at 9 years old. We're not doing that. He's not messy at 9. He's going to enjoy his childhood. He's going to play what he wants to play. And like you said, eventually he'll gravitate to the one he loves the most. And even right now, he'll tell you he loves soccer to death, but he still wants to play baseball and basketball. So that's what we're going to do.
I love it. I love it. Episode 33, be coachable. Quick recap, and we're going to get out of your way. For me, I will share my verse really quickly. Proverbs 12:1. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid. Be coachable, guys. Be coachable. Take the criticism, and that will lead to growth in your life, in your sport, in your faith, in your job, whatever it is.
I love the living version. It just gets straight down to it. That's where I get my quotes from because sometimes the thys and the thous I get them crossed up. But mine was Psalms 25:9. He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his way. So just be humble, be willing to grow, take that ownership, and have some accountability, guys. Be coachable.
Yes, sir. In closing, Philip, I'll say this: being coachable isn't weakness. Take the locker room challenge. Listen to the real talk. But being coachable is not a weakness, guys. It's one of the greatest strengths that you can have, like listening, understanding correction, because that's the ones that end up growing the most in their profession, in their sport, in their life, in their faith. And those are the ones that are willing to be taught, willing to learn. So, guys, man, as we close here, just stay humble, stay coachable, and continue growing.
In the words of Coach Monty Lee, be coachable and be great where your feet are.
I love it. I love it. Philip, if we've got nothing else, we've went on some tangents and went off in different
We
paths with
did. We
this
kind of
topic.
got off script tonight, but it was good. I like talking about things like that. I could go on forever about youth sports, but
Look, this topic was, I mean, obviously being coachable is near and dear to my heart because it's what I ask our guys to do, but like we need to do it in our lives. And I could go on and on about the youth sports and the being coachable and the humility and the growing. Like I love this topic. I hope it impacts one of you guys that are listening to it right now.
amen.
Before we close, Philip, I do have one quick thing I want to share, and me and you talked about this a little bit. Guys, I'm going to start up a little thing, and I heard it from a podcast that I was listening to, Men of Faith podcast. They had a kind of an alliance, a group. So this is going to be called the Armor Up Alliance, the AUA, but it's the Armor Up Alliance. It's going to be a group of guys, and me and Philip have some guys that we're going to be inviting into it. And we want to kind of take those guys and then spread and spread and spread. So essentially, what the Armor Up Alliance is going to be, it's going to start out as a group chat. It's going to be a safe space for encouragement, a safe space for men to be vulnerable and talk to their brothers and talk to men of faith. So some of you guys that listen will be added in, and ultimately, for us, if it's not something that you want to do and we add you in, like just remove yourself from the group chat. It's fine. Like no hard feelings. But I feel like surrounding ourselves with men of faith and men that have the same beliefs and men that we can share ideas with and share verses with and songs. And like we have so many of these tangents and group chats that me and Philip already have. We're going to kind of combine it all into one and start up the Armor Up Alliance. Really excited about it, man. I talked to my man Steve today. He's fired up about it. So really excited to get the Armor Up Alliance started. we will start growing that. If you want to be in the Armor Up Alliance and join it, there's no membership fee, guys. There's nothing you got to do. All you got to do is let us know. Send us a DM, talk to me or Phillip. Like, we'll add you in the Armor Up Alliance. This is just going to be God-fearing men that share encouraging words, share scripture, share some good songs. We'll talk about some sports in the group chat, I'm sure. But it's just guys being guys for God.
I love it, and I think it's a great idea. Even the anything we want to prayer requests and things like that, I think it's a great idea. Hurry up and send it out because I'm ready to get started. My last thing is I do have a prayer request I wanted to throw out there along with, keeping your uncle in our prayers as well, Matt. Ricky Malloy's cousin, Brad Pittman, he was 44 years old. He passed away yesterday. Really good friend of ours. His family was really close. If you remember um, Timmy Adams that run the rec department for years over here, he passed away last year. This was his stepson. So his sister Heather has buried her mother 2 years ago, Timmy last year, and now her brother. So please be in prayer for that family, for Heather and Chuck and Ricky Malloy and those guys. Just been a really tough 3 years for them, man. I know the Lord has a reason. I know that He's the omnipotent one, and I trust Him. But man, that has been tough on that family. So please, if you get a chance, say an extra prayer for them and keep them in your prayers, as Heather's going to need plenty coming forward. So wanted to give her a shout out here tonight.
Yes, absolutely. That was Mr. Pittman, correct?
Yes,
Okay, good. I'm gonna put that down on my notes to make
he was
sure.
a great dude, man. He really was. He was a good. Me and him, and quick, he reached out to me back in September of last year when I was really kind of starting this journey. Told me how proud he was of me and the quitting drinking, and we had started exchanging some verses, and he said I had inspired him, which again I told him that's not me, that's God, But I appreciated him reaching out, and we had some really encouraging words and shared some words of faith. And I texted his sister last night and I told her, I said, look, this is probably more overbearing than you can understand. But I know through our conversations and through God's reassurance that Brad is in heaven right now. I really feel like he changed his life. I really feel like he accepted the Lord as his Savior. And I know he's dancing in heaven. It's tragic when they go that young, but the ultimate prize is there for him. And I truly believe that Brad is in a good place tonight.
Amen. Quick update on my Uncle Joel. He is back home now. Still recovering from surgery and all that, but he is home. My dad and my mom were able to make him some food and take it over there. He's not, wanting to eat much, but he did eat some chicken soup. So I would love some of that right now, Angie. But shout out to him. He's on the road to recovery. We don't know exactly, what's not been taken care of as far as the cancer, but he is back home and he's on the road to recovery there a little bit. So that's kind of a prayer request / praise report. So we're getting a little positivity here. So we'll still keep him in our prayers as well as Mr. Pittman and his family as we move forward, man.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us. I know we went all over the world tonight with being coachable and sports and soccer and the Final Four on the men's and women's, but hey, be coachable. That's the ultimate thing. If you got nothing else and you don't want to listen to us talk sports, that's fine. Cut it off after the devotion part, and that's cool with us. We don't mind. Just be coachable. Be coachable and keep moving forward. Stay humble and learn and grow.
That's it, man. That's it in a nutshell. I
Well,
love
Phillip,
it. I
I'll
love
close
the
this out
topic
in
tonight.
prayer.
Absolutely.
Dear Lord, we ask that you give us the humility to accept correction. Allow us to be coachable, Lord. We need that. We need that in order to grow, and we understand that. And sometimes we know it's hard, Lord, to accept the coaching and the correctness and the criticisms, right? But we need your help to open our eyes, open our hearts, open our minds to that criticism, that coaching. Give us the strength to do that, Lord. Allow us to be coachable as we move forward. We pray for the Pittman family and their loss. Put your arms around them. Give them comfort, give them peace. We still keep Joel Quinn in our prayers as he's is still going through this battle. We thank you for allowing him to go home as he goes through this big surgery and this big deal that's going on in his life with the cancer. We thank you for everything that you've done for us and everything that you're going to do for us, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen, my brother.
Man, that one felt good. That one
It
felt
did.
good, Phillip. I mean, just the show, the verses, the topic, the prayer, like we were on it tonight.
It did. It flowed well. It was a good topic. Again, I knew you were going to love this topic, but it really turned into a great, 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 great show, I think.
Thank you guys for joining us, episode 33. Be coachable. Armor Up Alliance is coming out to some of you guys. Like, be prepared to have your text messages, put you in a group chat. You can silence the notifications and then go check it when you're free. That's fine too. Like, that's cool. But we want to have men surround good men. Iron sharpens iron, right? That's one of the big quotes that's posted up on our wall here in our football facility. Iron sharpens iron. We get better every day with each other. And so we want to bring that into Armor Up Alliance, man. But that's it. That's enough for episode 33. Be coachable. As always, go Cougars.
Go Jesus.
Ephesians 6:11, yeah, it's the drill. Put on the full armor, stand firm in his will. Armor up, we don't back down. Shield of faith when the world comes around. Sword in my hand, I'm ready to fight. Jesus is the captain leading through the night. Yeah, sports in the spirit, it's a game of endurance. Training in faith, no room for deterrence. Quinn and Phillip, tag team for the kingdom. Breaking down walls till the world can see them. Helmet of salvation, blocking the lies. Built the truth, yeah, I'm suited to rise.